Group number 12, comparing and contrasting Nigeria oil and Mexico oil. Enriqueta, Daisy, Moises.
News: Mexico discovered oil in the hill of Tepeyac. Historically, this would change the Mexican history forever. In 1901, Mexico allowed foreign investors to come over and start drilling their land for oil exploitation. However, this became a problem by 1937 when people decided to start boycotting oil companies, which will lead to the Ley Explotación that will later become Article 27 of the Constitution of Mexico, that will lead to an embargo by the United States towards Mexico under oil exploitation. The embargo will be lifted with the policy Good Neighbor proposed by President Franklin Roosevelt to all Latin American countries during World War II.
Nigeria's oil history began in 1938. Nigeria gave permission to shell exploration parties to search for oil. After Shell's discovery, foreign companies wanted part of the success. Nigeria became dependent on its oil resource, and in 1967, civil war broke out over who gained ownership of the oil. After the Civil War, the Nigerian government demanded more control and ownership. Nigeria's political actor General Abdul Salami Abu Bakr stated that the conflict between oil companies and the community would lead to a negative effect on Nigeria's economy. Former President Obasanjo created numerous agreements in an attempt to avoid disturbances between the oil companies and the Nigerian community. He also promised that he would bring oil back to the Nigerians.
There are various policies and regulations on Mexico's oil. The key one being Article 27 of the Constitution, which was established in 1937 to privatize oil supply in Mexico. Later, North American Free Trade Agreement set up an agreement between North American countries, Mexico, Canada, and U.S. to import and export oil amongst those countries, as well as PDVSA, which was created by Vicente Fox, which regulated oil control to the companies in Mexico.
Nigeria's oil policies and regulations. Nigeria created amendments to expand their participation and production in their oil industry. Nigeria created the Nigerian National Oil Corporation in order to prospect, produce, and market the oil. They also began to acquire an equity stake in oil companies. By 1973, uniform oil pricing was implemented, but Nigerian oil was still the cheapest.
Since the late 30s, Mexico's oil has been state-owned, and the only company in Mexico which controls oil productivity and oil exportation is Pemex, and through the government is poorly managed, and through its involvement in politics has had a significant effect on the political environment in Mexico as well as the economy. Mexico has had no foreign involvement with their oil for over 70 years. Pemex, however, does hire independent oil companies outside of the country to locate oil for them. This exclusion of foreign investment makes Mexico's economy highly dependent on their oil exportation and production.
Nigeria's oil is both state-owned and privately owned resource. By the end of the Civil War, private oil companies began to pay Nigeria a large portion of oil profits and rent. Foreign companies have joined the state-owned National Corporation, which demands a 55 to 60%. The state has become the main owner, producer, and marketer of oil.
More than most other issues, Mexico's oil control has had a key role in their politics. Leaders have used their power in oil control to gain support in elections. Furthermore, the oil in Mexico has a major effect on the country's economy, making it highly dependent on oil production. Currently, the economy is suffering because of the significant giving more consideration to changing oil policies in the nation.
The effect of oil in Nigeria. Nigeria's corrupt government has led this oil-rich nation to debt and poverty. Communities that live near the Nigeria Delta or other oil-rich regions where oil drilling occurs live in harsh conditions without access to water, electricity, or medical treatment. Oil spills and gas flares are major problems in these areas. Military regimes have been the only ones that benefit from the oil after they take control and receive all the benefits, leaving the people without choice but to steal oil barrels and sell them over the black market.
Mexico and Nigeria are two developing countries that have their oil state-owned. Nigeria is also half privately owned. Nigeria oil is mainly controlled by
Nigeria National Oil Corporation, that is a state-owned company. Mexico Oil is owned by Pemex. Both countries are dependent on the oil economically. Mexico is a developing country while Nigeria is still in the developing stage. Nigeria economically is 95% based on their oil, while Mexico only depends a 40%